Our next goal is to figure out how to put an image onto an object. Like if I wanted to take this six-sided cube and make it into a die, how could I put like the little dots on each one of the individual faces? Now, in the past, what we've done is we've assigned materials, and we can do materials for each one of the different faces. But how do you add extra detail, like little scratches or that type of thing? And the way to do that is basically to put a texture on the image. And the same skills that we use here, we can also use to actually select what part of a face is shiny, what part is rough, and even we can add extra geometry such that some of the face looks like it's indented and some looks like it's sticking out. There's a lot that you can actually do with this type of texturizing of an object. Now, in order to texturize the object, one of the things we have to do is what's called a UV unwrap. We actually need to figure out how to unwrap this particular object and make it flat. Now, compared to before, Blender actually makes this a lot easier and does a whole lot of smart unwrapping, and that's made things a world easier. However, if you have a really complex object, this is a very difficult subject to figure out how to unwrap a complex like a human head or something and make it flat. Now, in the case of this course, we're not really going to get into that, but needless to say, it is possible to manually figure out how to unwrap an object. If you go into edit mode and then select a particular edge, underneath the UV menu, there's a mark seam. That means when I deconstruct the object, I can actually tear it apart there and allow it to lay flat, because you can't really get a cube to lay flat on its own. Right now with UV Unwrap, it'll do some smart unwrapping for you just by hitting unwrap. And if I do UV unwrap, it's actually kind of unwrapped my cube in a smart way for me right now, but I can't see what it's done. So while I've unwrapped the cube, I can't see the unwrap. In order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and take this timeline. I'm going to pull it up. And then from here, I'm going to change this view to UV editor. So the unwrap goes into UV editor, but if you don't have an UV editor view, you're not going to see it. Okay, as you can see, it's taken the cube and it's actually sort of cut it apart and laid it flat, which looks pretty nice. And I can put the different, which I'll show here in a bit. I'll show you how to basically draw on this image. Okay, so I've got that. It's laid out flat. There are a lot of other ways that you can do a UV unwrap. You can basically do this smart UV project, and it'll actually unwrap it in a different manner, as you can see here. You can manually set out the seams for the object, and it can get complicated actually rather quick, as I can kind of show here. I'm going to select the 4 top corners here, grab them, move them up along the z-axis, and then go back here to the select everything. And as you can see, I've actually got some pretty long edges, but they don't look long here. They're stretched. And figuring out how to avoid those stretches is part of one of the things that makes UV a little bit complex when you put that out there. I do a UV, Smart UV project, unwrap, and now it'll actually put those true to real dimension and make it a little bit less stretchy when you put that on there. One of the other things that I like quite a bit is basically this only shows what you've got selected on the UV unwrap. So if I select this particular face, I can see now what face goes with it. I can flip over here, select this face. This face is that square. This is handy, but it also adds some confusion in that when you're starting to work with UV stuff, if you don't have anything selected, like if I unselect everything, it looks like you don't have any UV unwrap whatsoever. So you do need to have everything selected. Okay, cool. So you've got a UV unwrap and it's unwrapped somehow. Then next up, how do I actually put something on that this image right here? Well, right now I don't have an image. I need to create an image. So I'm going to go underneath the image menu and do new. And I can put an image down here, and it'll end up creating a black image that I can end up drawing on. Now this isn't perfect. I'm going to wrap back here, and this is probably actually a different way that you're going to want to do this, but I'm going to show this way first. Once I've got the image, I can save the image. Save as. I'm just going to save it on my desktop here. Desktop. Test cube 1. And I've now saved the image onto my desktop. So the next thing that you end up needing to do is actually go to your desktop and open up the image. I'm going to sort of scoot this off here to the side, and then I'm going to put this over here. And if I right click with the image, I can do open with Paint. And this is built in. There's all sorts of graphics programs, which is way beyond the scope of what I can cover here. But MS Paint is built into Windows, so I'm going to use it. And I've got MS Paint here, and I got my black image. So I can paint on this image. I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to paint, quite frankly, because I can switch here with the brushes. But where do I paint? Because I don't actually have a template guide. So that's what I need next, is to get some sort of template guide to figure out what edge is where. So we'll show you how to do that in a sec. But anyway, I'm going to File, save this, flip back here. And as I can see, well, it's not here at all. I need to do Image, Open, and then I can reopen that cube, and I can see it on there. Great. I take a look at this though, switch to Material View, and I still have my original image. One of the things that makes texturing so complex is there's so many different steps to this. Okay, how do I end up fixing this? I need to go over here to the materials for it, and where it says base color, there's like this little yellow dot off to the side on the left, not the right dot, but the left dot. I click on this, and I say rather than using white, I want to use an image. So instead of base color, I'm going to pull in an image, and then I need to open the image. Go to the desktop and hit Test Cube 1. And there we go. I can actually see that I have the image on there, and I can switch to like a rendered view. Shows it a little bit better. Let's add in a little plane here, scale it up. Oops, I think my plane took on the texture as well. Oh, I'm in object mode. Undo, undo. There, object mode. Plane, scale it up. Scale it up. Grab it, move it down. Great. Let's do a top-down view. And whoops, where's our light? Here's our light. Can't see things very well because of the light here. I don't think I put my plane in a very good place. Duplicate it, put another light over here, grab the plane, move it on the z-axis down. Cool, there we go. All right, I got a little better view here, but I definitely have a cube and I have written on it, so I'm pleased with that. Let's do this one more time, and I'm going to show you how to set up a template for it. File, New, General. We're going to start it all over. Don't save, that's fine. Cool, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and add a plane here, scale it up, just to make it a little bit easier to see our final project. Cool, material view, and I'm going to go into rendered view. Great. I'm going to go top down, take this light, duplicate it, Shift D. Cool, I can see things a little bit better. All right, I want to be able to take this cube, and instead of a cube, actually cube will be fine. And I want to make it into a die. So I'm going to go to move this up. Remember, we changed this to a UV editor. I'm going to take my cube, I'm going to flip to edit mode, and it already unwrapped it for me. Love it. Particularly this one's pretty straightforward. So much easier than it used to be with Blender. You used to just plain get a square and it wasn't unwrapped at all, and it was incredibly confusing about what you're supposed to do next. Not that it isn't already a little bit confusing. Anyway, underneath the UV menu, I can okay. Got a little bit confused there. Under this UV menu, I can't under here. Interestingly enough. Okay, under here, under the UV view though, there is an option which is sort of hard for me to get to given that my window is kind of small. Export UV layout. So if you are in the UV view, you can select the UV menu and then find Export UV Layout. And then you can export the UV layout. This is not going to work, I can see already, so I'm going to hit cancel. I need to select everything. There you go. Now I've got all the different vertices in there. UV. Export UV layout. Go to desktop. And then I'm going to save this as cube. Export. Move this off to the side. Here's my cube. I can right click on cube and then I can open with Microsoft Paint. Hey, here we go. I've got my cube and I can just use a brush and paint in the cube. So let's make this black. Brush here. I can do a 1. I think I want a bigger brush. 1. It's more like a highlighter. This is not the best paint program ever. Okay, very messy 1. Here's a 2. Here's a 3. Here's a 4. 5. 6. Not very easy to do this with a mouse. If you had a pen pad, it would be so much easier. Okay, then I'm going to File, and I'm going to save this. Now, it is important to note that this color and these edges will appear on my final product. So if I don't want those edges, I actually have to go in and erase the edges, or else they're going to end up appearing. Anyway, so I'm going to minimize this, pull this back over here, image, open. I'm going to go back to my desktop. I had cube.png. There it is. Awesome. The numbers line up with the different things in the cube. I'm partway there. I still don't have it here. I need to go here to my color. Instead of base color, I want image. And click open. Desktop. Find the cube image. Sweet, there we are. And I've got my cube with the different items painted on it. That's not too bad at all. Just to show how important the lines are, and to give you one other example, I'm going to do File, New, Open. I'm going to X this one, and I'm going to add a cylinder. Mesh, cylinder. I'm going to edit. I'm going to scale this along the Z-axis, make it a little bit more like a pop can. Cool. I want to make this my own special pop. UV, unwrap. Let's move this up. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to do UV editor. Hey, it did actually a pretty good job of unwrapping when you take a look at that. Didn't used to be this way before. So I'm pleased with that. I'm going to go and pull this up a smidge more, go to my UV menu, scroll down to Export UV Layout, go back to the desktop, and it's called cylinder. Excellent. I'm going to smush this down a bit, move this over, bring cylinder back in here, right click on cylinder. Then I'm going to do open with Microsoft Paint. You can use whatever graphics editor you're used to. Now all of these lines are going to end up appearing, which is going to make it look kind of ugly, but this will work for now. Here we go. I'm going to do this nice maybe purple, and I'm going to do CRA. Wow, is this artistic or what? VEN. There we go. COLA. Now I have my Craven Cola, and put a smiley face in there. Now, if I'd been smart, I would have actually drew a box over this whole thing and got rid of the lines. But I actually want to demo how important it is to get rid of the lines by not getting rid of them. So I'm going to File, save this, minimize this, bring this back here. Image, open, desktop. This was the cylinder. Cool, brought that in. Over here on this side, I'm going to create a new material. Base color is going to be an image. I need to open the image. Desktop, cylinder. Cool. Go into rendered view. And there we are. I've got my Craven Cola. It looks terrible because I can see all the lines there. I kind of needed to get that off. But it wasn't too complicated. If you keep to simple shapes, it's reasonably straightforward to be able to put a UV unwrap on it and colorize it. So that's my suggestion. If you want to do this and add and be able to write on things, keep this shape simple and follow these steps to be able to put something on it.